My name is Greg Ruth. I am a writer and illustrator of books. Mainly, I do a lot of comics and children's picture books. I've done some music video work, some film work as well. But my real love is comics. Sudden Gravity was the first one I did about in 1993, and I've done about half a dozen graphic novels since then. I've worked on Conan, Freaks of the Heartland. I'm currently doing a book with Ethan Hawke called Ende on the Apache Wars of the late 1800s. Did a graphic novel for Scholastic called The Lost Boy. That was a long-time personal project as well. Coming Home and Pirate's Guide to First Grade and for children's books. And I'm in the middle of a new children's book for Scholastic. That's the third in the Old Turtle series. I spend a lot of time doing Sumi ink dry brush work. I guess there is a particular technique to dry brush work. I've never learned it. I just kind of do what I do. I'm very detail-oriented naturally, very retentive almost. I did a graphic novel in ballpoint pen. It was a nightmare. And it kind of forced me to break everything that would make that kind of detail work and do something that's a little bit more loose. I think I like the, as opposed to my natural tendency to kind of get down and hunch up my shoulders, dry brush demands to be a full arm and elbow kind of way of working that I really like. It's just very immediate. I think a lot of why I work in comics is there's a certain kind of a pace of rapid forward movement that you need to do, and dry brush work is very committed. Every mark you make is the mark, and every stroke you make is an evidence. So there's not really a lot of going back and fussing around, and that just suits my temperament. The simplicity of it, I think there's something about every mark it shows the gesture of an artist. So I have a real passion for black and white art in general, ink work especially, and graphite work too. I'm starting to do a little bit more of that, but I just feel like you can see the artist working. You can almost follow a map of their path through this piece that they're making. So for me, it's something that I really enjoy seeing. It's very raw and very unvarnished, I think. Getting chosen to do Spectrum was pretty amazing. It was dizzying and frightening, and it's a great responsibility. I mean, the thing that I think from looking at all this work today that has been so sharp is, I'll stop and I'll look, and there's so many people doing so much work, and they're spending so much time. Some of these things they're just so richly executed. There's months of time behind these pieces, and as you're kind of clicking through, there's 5,000 pieces, picking and choosing. It's very daunting, I think, to a certain degree. It's exciting, but it's the responsibility is in evidence, I think, every time you scroll through the next one. You see that for the time that, it makes me think about the time that I spend and devote to a piece of work, and that would make up 2 or 3 pieces of the thousands and thousands of pieces that you're seeing. It's kind of hard to choose. We're just getting through the kind of main book content at this point, and we're going to head into picking the award winners. And that I'm really looking forward to, because we finally get to interact as judges and start to make our cases for the works that we'll want to champion. But at the same time, God, picking one out of all, I just find that impossible to imagine. And there's a certain arbitrariness to it that I think is hard to do, because the work is so varied that people are submitting. It's coming from so many different perspectives. It's so uplifting to see those different ideas. It's exhausting, but at the same time, I feel so creatively awake from it. All of this kind of input is triggering the kind of machinery and the electricity inside. It's really wonderful, I think, in that sense. I've seen Spectrum, and I've been in Spectrum before, and I've always gotten the books, and I've always looked through them, and I imagined forward when I was asked to do this, that this is what it would be like. It would just be like kind of looking through a Spectrum book, but just a lot of them all at once. And it's not. It's bigger than that. And it's really wonderful and interesting. And I think being able to interact with the other judges that are here today has been remarkable. It's a real honor, and I'm really glad to be here. Yeah, I won an award for a cover I did for Freaks of the Heartland fairly early on. I think that might have been the second year I submitted. So that was kind of, I don't even know if I knew what Spectrum was. And I wasn't, at the time, really completely aware of what it meant. And as the years have gone by, the impact and the import of that award has been made bigger and more obvious and more profound, I think. And today, I think, has brought that all back. Starting to see these new generations come through who are so talented. There's so many great different voices that are that are rising up right now. And I find that it's such an excitement to see who's coming and see those ideas and to be kept on one's toes for it. It's very affirming, and I think it's very encouraging to be in a book next to people that inspired me to want to do this in the first place, and then to be sitting back in a position now of picking and choosing amongst those people who inspire me to become an artist. It's insane. I mean, it's like a snake eating its own tail 1,000 times over. It's very exciting, and it feels like I'm home to a certain degree.